So I read your bio and I was like, oh my God, there's just no way I'm going to recite this off the script. Can you just give a little background on who you are, what you do?
Yeah, so look, my background is actually quite interesting because I started out as a pilot. Most people know me as Captain Ryan. When I was really young, though, my uncle was a developer, so I've always been in the real estate game. When I hit 17, I realized I didn't have any money because he looked at me. I'm like, I want to do my first house. I want to do my first flip. And he's like, son, you don't have any money. And so I literally made the decision, okay, I'm either going to use my hands and work at all these odd jobs, or I looked at him one day and I'm like, I could actually get paid to fly airplanes. And so I was 17 years old. I just got my driver's license. I then got my pilot's license. And, I was hired on at the airlines at the age of 21 years old. 2008, 2009 happened. I actually upgraded to captain when I was 23. So these are the youngest ages that you could actually become first officer and then captain. I was flying a $40 million jet at the age of 21 years old.
Jeez. Wow.
So this is crazy. Like I literally went into the office to get hired, and I was still wet behind the ears. Like I literally was 21 years old flying a $40 million jet for United Express. With that in mind, I always wanted to be in real estate because I knew I couldn't trade my time for money. Like we all here sit today like, okay, I can go and work my ass off and go and get paid 100, 150 bucks an hour. But there's something about real estate that has always been inside of me. And I've always been a very curious cat. I've always been curious. And for me, it's always been about timing. I know this is kind of vague, but I'll get into it later. I always studied my uncle. He was a developer. I always studied timing. When do you do this? When do you do the foundation? When do you do the walls? When do you do the plumbing? When do you do, because I think timing is very important in any real estate deal. And so as I was going through my career at the airlines, I hit 25 years old and I'm like, okay, I need to get back into real estate. In 2008, 2009, 2010 happened. So perfect timing. And I got a crash pad. That was my first thing. So I was a pilot, right? I got a single family home, 50% discount in Scottsdale, Arizona. Nice. And I literally had a 4-bedroom home that I rented 3 rooms out, stayed in the master for free, had $400 extra coming in. Realized one of the mistakes that I made was I didn't want to live with these people, right? I was okay, this is super dope. This is super cool, but I didn't want to live with people and collect rent. Right. And so then I bought my first 4-plex. But really for me, it's like, okay, people are like, well, how did you go from being a pilot to a real estate to fund to, running Cardone Capital with Grant Cardone? Well, it's been the plan from the beginning. It's just taking, 20 years. I mean, I've got 10,000 hours in flying. I've been flying for almost 40 years old. So I've been flying for 23 years and I've been with Grant for almost 10. And I've been doing real estate since my first single family for 15 years.
It's amazing.
So I've been doing both. Like that's what people, they get a little confused, but I've been doing both for a very, very long time. And I encourage other people to do that too. You got a job? Go and get a piece of real estate. You got a job? Go work for somebody else. You got a job? Like you can't break away from what's making you money. Mm-hmm. You got to start studying now, so that way you could actually buy and control real estate.
Absolutely, dude. You already knew 17 years old.
I did
that's incredibly. What was it about 17-year-old Ryan? How the hell did that guy figure it out?
Well, so the crazy thing is so in high school I got voted class clown. I definitely didn't get voted the most successful, right? Like people, I was the typical guy. I like fast cars and I rode street bikes and motorcycles when I was growing up. The thing about it was when I found aviation really gave me the outlet where it did a couple things, right? Because my dad always wanted me to do the military. My uncle was an entrepreneur. And so when my parents split, I was 10 years old. My uncle really like grooved me and raised me and got me into this fighting shape where at the age of 17 years old, I was ready to go because he had a business, a computer business, and he was a developer. And so I started learning all these different traits of like, man, that is what I want to do. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. But I also always knew that I needed some, not the military, but something like that, where it's like it's discipline, it's the showing up every single day, and that's really what the airline did. Because I mean, if you had a showtime at 5:30 in the morning, like you had to be on time, otherwise you got fired. So I literally for 10 years I was in the airlines. They were very strict, and that has helped me to where I am today.
I love that.
Yep,
I love that. So, by the way, being a commercial airline pilot by 21 years old is absolutely unheard of. I have two of my best friends are pilots, and they worked their tail off. And I
Yeah.
think they became airline pilots at like 28, 27. So that's an incredible feat, number one.
Yeah, the youngest age is 21, by the way.
That they'll even accept.
That's the youngest age that they'll accept.
Youngest age.
Wow.
Because that's the youngest age you can get your ATP, which is airline transport pilot. And so I got in with 800 hours, like 750, 800. Now you have to have 1,500. So I literally, guys, I'm telling you, you can't make this shit up. Like I literally hit different tracks in my career where I slid in there because I was that guy where people can count on. I wasn't the best. I actually took longer than most people to get spooled up and flying. I just did it 3 times a day when they were doing it once.
Yeah.
These guys were drinking and smoking and partying by the pool.